If you're looking to build a gaming PC, I will show you my top 3 PC builds for gaming that you can build right now in 2023. I will go through 3 different budgets, however you will have more PC builds in the video description alongside the ones that I'm going to mention in this one, and the budgets of this video are going to be $1,000, $1,500 and the last one being $2,000. But remember, in the video description you will have more PCs under $1,000 and more PCs above $2,000, so that way your budget is covered either way. And if you don't understand anything about computers because you're a beginner, don't worry, I will try to explain everything as simple as possible, and I will also tell you what these PCs are capable of running and the expected FPS. That being said, let's start. With the first one, for $1,000 we have the 1440p/4K PC build. Why? Because this PC is going to be great for 1440p high FPS, but you can also use it for 4K gaming with no issues. For the CPU we have the Ryzen 5 5600, and for the GPU we have the RX 6800 XT. If you don't understand about computers, for a gaming PC you always want to prioritize your GPU while you don't bottleneck it with your CPU, and that's what I did here. The Ryzen 5 5600 will be enough not to bottleneck it at 1440p and 4K, and it can run pretty much every single title at 1440p high FPS. If you are planning on playing esports titles such as Valorant, Fortnite or CSGO, even at 4K you will be able to achieve more than 144 FPS on average. So if you want a high refresh rate 4K monitor or a 240Hz 1440p one, you can buy one and take advantage of it. And if you want to play more high demanding titles, let's say Flight Simulator, Red Dead Redemption 2 or Cyberpunk 2077, at 1440p and 4K you will get an amazing experience just for $1,000. If you are thinking of playing at 1080p instead, I would recommend you spending less money, and like I said at the beginning, you will have PCs that are under $1,000 for 1080p as well in the description, but for this PC I would recommend at least a 1440p monitor. Now with the rest of the components you get 1TB of Gen 4 SSD, which is enough. If you need more storage you can always upgrade down the line, or you can go ahead and buy 2TB right now. Then for the memory kit we have the TeamGroup T-Create Expert. This is a 32GB of RAM kit 2x16, and honestly 32GB of RAM is becoming really cheap these days. This kit is only going for $53. Between 32GB of RAM and 16GB, there's not a noticeable difference for gaming. However, if you're thinking of multitasking and streaming, this will help you out a lot. Then for the case we have the Bitfinex Nova Mesh. This one has a front mesh panel, 3 RGB pre-installed fans. I love this case because it's only going for $60 and it has everything that you need for this build. Then for the motherboard we have the Gigabyte V550M, the S3H. Nothing too crazy about this motherboard, honestly it does the job and it's only $108. And last but not least, the power supply, we have the Corsair RM750E. This is a 750 watt 80 plus gold power supply, 8-year rated, super good quality, so really good for this type of components. I didn't put an extra CPU cooler. If you want to spend $20 or so, you can add one for your CPU. It's not going to make a huge difference temperature wise, however it will make your gaming experience more quiet. With the next PC we have the $1,500 one, to be exact is $1,517, but I will explain to you how to make this PC under $1,500 for the same performance in a minute. This one has the Ryzen 5 7600, which is better than the 5600, and then we have the RX 7900 XT for the GPU. Once again, if you don't understand about gaming computers, this one is like the last one, a 1440p 4K PC, but you will be achieving higher FPS. With this CPU GPU combo, you can expect around a 40% increase while gaming over the last one. So I highly recommend you buying this one, especially if you have the money to do it, and especially if you're going to upgrade to 4K down the line. It's important to mention that if you just play esports titles, the last one will be enough. However, if you want to play newer AAA titles or games that are going to come out in the future, the $1,500 option makes much more sense. And this would be my limit for 1440p gaming. Now for the rest of the components, we get 32GB of RAM of DDR5 memory at 6000 MHz CL38. This is really fast and is only going for $77, which is really decent decent for a kit like this. And then for the storage, we have a 2TB NVMe Gen 4 SSD going for $90. This is not the cheapest one out there. For that reason, if you want to keep the price at $1,500 or below, I recommend you going with 2TB of Gen 3 SSD instead of Gen 4. You save up some money, you will not notice a difference. I just put the Gen 4 one because the price is not that high and it will help you out if you're doing a ton of production and content creation work. Then for the motherboard, we have the B650M S3H motherboard, which is the same as the last one. The only difference is that this one is from the new AM5 platform, going for $150. Nothing too crazy about this motherboard once again, but it's going to get the job done for our build, which is nice. And last but not least, the power supply, we have the same power supply as the last one because you actually don't need more wattage than 750 watts. And once again, 80 rated, so the quality is there even for the highest end PC that you can get. And last but definitely not least, we have the $2,000 PC build that is actually $1,912. So you're gonna spend those extra $90 on whatever you want, but honestly, I don't think you should spend anything more than this on a gaming computer. On this PC, we have the Ryzen 7 7700X and the RX 7900 XTX for the GPU, which is now on sale for $960, at least by the time that I'm recording this video. I recommend you checking the latest prices in the video description because maybe when you're watching this GPU is more expensive. However, I don't expect this GPU to be over $1,000, so the total price for this PC will be still under $2,000. Now, with this CPU GPU combo, you can expect around a 20% increase on performance over the last one with the RX 7900 XT and the Ryzen 5 7600. So yes, it's not a huge upgrade, but it's definitely a nice one if you're going to play at 4K. If you're going to play at 1440p, I wouldn't recommend you spending any more than $1,500. However, if you're thinking of playing 4K, and I'm talking about games like Flight Simulator or Hogwarts Legacy or Cyberpunk, those type of games that are high demanding, then it actually makes sense to go with this $2,000 PC. If you want to use ray tracing, then you can go with NVIDIA in the RTX 4080, but that is going to be more expensive, and in rasterized performance, the RX 7900 XTX is a bit faster and you end up spending less money, so I don't see why you should go with NVIDIA other than ray tracing performance or content creation, but this video is about gaming. However, with this PC, since you get the Ryzen 7 7700X, it's actually going to be really good for content creation for most people, so you don't have to worry about that. I would only recommend you switching to NVIDIA if you're a professional content creator. Then we get the same 32 gigs of RAM. I don't think you need anything more than this. The speeds are fine. Another thing that I've changed is the motherboard. I went with the MSI Mag P650 Tomahawk Wi-Fi ATX motherboard. This is more of a premium one for the future. If you don't know about components, the new AM5 platform will support future CPUs from AMD, so if you're going to have a motherboard for the long term, I think this premium one is an excellent choice. Then for the case, I went with the Deepcool CK560. This is the same case as the last one, I just forgot to mention it. I love the design of this one, has great airflow, 4 pre-installed fans, 3 RGB in the front and 1 non-RGB in the back, and don't worry, you will have alternatives to this case in the description for you to find one that you like, but honestly, in my personal opinion, this one looks amazing, performs amazing, and the price is decent. Then for the CPU cooler, I went with the Thermalright Peerless Assassin 120 SE. This one is $37 and it's going to cool down the Ryzen 7 7700X for a really good price. And last but not least, the power supply, I went with 850 watts instead of 750 because I feel like it's going to be necessary with the CPU GPU combo, and I went with the Enermax Revolution, the F2. This is once again 80 rated, so trust me, your PC will not explode, which is the most important thing when buying a power supply. Now, let's say you don't want to build it yourself, then you want to get a Prebuilt PC, and I think a Prebuilt PC is actually a great solution for those that are really hesitating between building one. So you're lucky because my last video was about the best Prebuilt PCs of the month. I highly recommend you watching that video in the top right of the screen, where I go over every single budget. So yes, your budget will be there and you will be able to see what those PCs are capable of running. Thank you guys for watching, thank you for the support, and I will see you on the next one.